Emily, I have two things to say to you. I sold our house for $500,000 and bought a new one. Also, I filed for divorce, so today's goodbye.
After 3 months hospital stay, I came home to find strangers living in my house. I called my husband, Michael, right away, and he laughed while telling me this unbelievable news later on. It was utterly chaotic, and although it would be shocking for anyone, I responded with surprising calmness. Can you even move out? You're about to be arrested by the police. Michael's laughter stopped abruptly over the phone, but it returned within 3 seconds.
What are you talking about? Why should I be arrested? I heard you were hospitalized from an accident. Did you hit your head too hard? Maybe you should go back to the hospital and get your head checked.
The one who needs his head checked is Michael. I knew he had a knack for doing dumb things. His arrest by the police was not a bluff, but a certainty. My husband had no idea what was coming when I was getting ready to strike back. A few days later, I called him out to discuss matters further. Parking my car a short distance from the meeting place, I took a deep breath before speaking. Michael, you can't just sell the house on your own, can you? You didn't consult me, did you?
It's in my name, so there's no problem, right? The house is mine, so there's no need to consult you.
No, it's in my name too, remember? It's a joint property, and you can't sell it without my consent.
Yeah, I guess it's in your name too. But I can still sell the house without your consent. In fact, I've already sold it and got $500,000.
Michael reclined confidently with a triumphant smile.
How did I sell the house, you ask?
His face seemed to demand, so I reluctantly asked him to explain. Then, explain how you sold the house.
I guess I have to tell you. Listen closely because I'll only say it once. I sold it privately, just between individuals. Like you said, going through a real estate agent would involve complicated procedures. But if it's a private sale, there are no problems. See? You didn't know that, did you?
Michael had been looking down on me for about a year now, so this was nothing new. With a vulgar laugh, Michael continued his tale.
I work at my father's company, and I'm regarded as a genius salesman. Selling 1 or 2 houses is a piece of cake for someone like me. I even sold it for twice the price, through a private sale. Life is easy, isn't it?
I see. But is that okay? Selling a house privately like that can be legally void, so the sales agreement might as well not exist.
What? That's not true. The person who bought the house agreed to it too.
As I also own the house, I didn't consent to it, so it's impossible. Plus, Michael, you sold it for twice the price without an appraisal. That's a dangerous game you're playing. The sales agreement will be nullified and you'll have to refund the full amount. There might also be a claim for damages from the person who bought the house. Michael's vulgar laughter stopped abruptly. His face paled slightly and his hands trembled a bit. This reaction indicated that Michael was unaware of the implications. Had he known, he wouldn't have attempted a private sales in the first place.
Why do you know so much? You're not lying, right?
There's no benefit in lying here.
That's true. So agree to it, Emily. If you consent to the house sale, everything will be resolved. We're a married couple, so helping each other out is important, right?
We're divorced, remember? Did you forget that you filed for divorce on your own?
Oh, right.
Being so self-centered leads to these kinds of situations. If Michael, who has already purchased a new home, has to pay back the full amount and possibly face claims for damages, he will incur a significant debt. Michael, pale-faced and flustered, began to stammer, but soon seemed to have an idea and spoke up.
Well, it won't matter if it's not discovered, right? The buyer was an elderly person in their 60s and probably didn't notice. Yeah, I should just run away with what's left of the money. Maybe even run away overseas.
That sounds like a great plan. Indeed, if it doesn't get discovered, maybe you can get away with it. That's if it remains undiscovered. Just then, a man appeared behind me. Seeing that man, Michael's eyes bulged out in shock, and he was rendered speechless. His reaction was so comically exaggerated that I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Pfft, what's with that face? It's rude to our guest who has come all this way. Let me introduce him to you. This is Mr. Kevin Miller.
I don't need an introduction. I know him. This is the old man I sold the house to. Why, Emily? How do you know him?
Well, listen carefully because I'll only say it once. During my hospital stay, Mr. Miller visited me every day. He shared many stories with me, including about you.
He visited you? Why would some random old man visit you, Emily? Don't tell me. You were having an affair with this old man?
At that moment, Mr. Miller and I looked at each other and burst out laughing. Unable to contain ourselves due to Michael's absurd accusation, Mr. Miller regained his composure and explained everything to Michael.
Michael, for me, Emily is a lifesaver. She was hospitalized because she was saving me. That's why I was visiting her. That's all. And I was surprised to find out that you are Emily's husband. I thought she was single since you never visited her at the hospital.
Mr. Miller's tone was gentle but contained a firm anger. As Mr. Miller stated, Michael had never visited me during my hospitalization. From before my hospitalization, Michael had been cold and unresponsive, likely planning to discard me already.
Oh, come on, Mr. Miller. Please don't be angry. I was just too busy with work to visit her at the hospital. Besides, it was just a fracture. It's not about the severity of the injury. It's inconceivable to neglect your wife while she's hospitalized, and your attitude says it all about how you usually ignore Emily. It's truly humiliating to have been deceived by you. That house, by the way, wasn't worth $500,000 but $250,000. I will sue you for a full refund.
Mr. Miller's words and gaze sharpened, and Michael became increasingly flustered, desperately searching for a way out. Seeing this, I decided to play my next move. And by the way, Michael, tell me about the divorce papers. How did you submit them to the office?
Well, how? I just wrote the names, signed it, and submitted it.
I thought so. So you wrote my name and signed it without my permission, right? That's forgery of a private document and use of forged private document. Both are clear crimes. I've already filed a police report.
What? A crime? A police report? Are you saying the police arrest you mentioned was...
The day I returned from the hospital, Michael had told me,
I've filed for divorce.
And I immediately questioned this. Our relationship had died down, but we never discussed about divorce before. Naturally, I had no memory of signing the divorce papers, so the only conclusion was that Michael has signed on my behalf. By the way, regarding the house sale, I can also file a fraud complaint. The police are always on top of their games, so you might get arrested soon, Michael. You've really messed up.
Hey, Emily... Let's forget about the divorce. I'll have it annulled. You don't want to divorce me, right? Let's just pretend this never happened.
Faced with my husband's ludicrous proposal, I was utterly dismayed. There was no way to undo what had been done. Michael had intended to discard me, and after such actions, there was no continuing our marriage. Moreover, Michael was still hiding important details. At this point, I took a further step to get to the heart of the matter. No need to annul it, Michael. I'm prepared too, with my own divorce papers. I was planning to file them even if you hadn't. Could you sign them now? And don't forget the alimony.
What? Why do you have divorce papers ready? And what do you mean by alimony? There's no way I'm paying that.
Oh, did you think it wasn't discovered? Her name is Sarah White, right? Your affair partner. She's quite beautiful. Michael, you really did something, huh? Upon hearing the specific name, Michael froze as if time had stopped. Yes, Michael had an affair partner named Sarah. The house sale, the purchase of a new home, the divorce, all were for his affair partner. Michael had been secretly having an affair even before I was hospitalized for 3 months. That was why he had become cold towards me. Michael, having underestimated and disrespected me, probably assumed he wouldn't get caught. I glared at him with utter contempt. He seemed momentarily intimidated, but he quickly retorted.
Don't make false accusations. You don't have any proof, do you? I don't know any woman named Sarah. Demanding alimony based on your wild fantasies. That's the real fraud.
Are you sure you want to say that? You might regret it later. It would be better for you to just apologize and pay the alimony.
What? Are you threatening me?
I'm just giving you advice. You definitely cheated, and I'm going to prove it now. Saying this, I turned and pointed to a particular location. My car was parked a short distance from the meeting place. Suddenly, the car doors swung open forcefully. Out stepped a petite woman around 4 feet 9 inches tall, with the beauty of an actress. Hello, Michael. Have you forgotten about me?
After such a passionate night, that seems rather harsh, doesn't it? Hey, Emily, you brought Sarah in your car? No wonder you parked it a bit away.
You didn't notice at all, Michael. By the way, I had Sarah's and my phones on call, with a speaker on, so she could hear everything. Everything was completely transparent. After noticing Michael's infidelity and investigating, I reached out to Sarah. Instead of confronting Michael first, I contacted Sarah. When I revealed that I was Michael's wife, she was genuinely shocked. This was because Michael had lied to her about being single. Thinking they were in a serious relationship, Sarah was furious when she realized she had been deceived. She apologized profusely to me and agreed to help discipline Michael, leading us to this moment. I'll be a witness. Now you have to admit it, right? Would you like me to show the evidence? My phone is full of lovely memories with you, from fancy restaurant dinners to pictures of you sleeping in bed. Michael, there's no escape now. Just admit your guilt and apologize to everyone. After that, accept your due consequences. I'm demanding a divorce and alimony. For Mr. Miller, you'll need to refund the entire amount from the house sale. After finishing my speech, Michael dropped to his knees vigorously. After a few seconds of silence, Michael cautiously spoke up. Could we perhaps discuss making payments in installments? I really don't have any money right now. Please, I promise I'll pay. Michael pleaded desperately, his face shrinking in size. Both Mr. Miller and Sarah frowned upon seeing this. The two were unaware that Michael had bought a new home. They thought he still had $500,000 on hand. Mr. Miller, Michael bought a new home. Besides, he spent everything at fancy restaurants to impress Sarah. He doesn't have any means to repay. What? Is that true? Then I have no choice but to file a damage report right away. Well, that's unfortunate. Take care, Michael. No. Wait a minute. I said I'd pay in installments. I do have a way to repay. I'm an elite salesman at Harine Corporation, remember? I gave you my business card when we dealt with the house sale. I'm the top performer there, so please just be patient. Michael desperately tried to prevent a police report. Harine Corporation, where my father-in-law worked, was well known as a major company. If Michael was indeed recognized there, he might be able to make the payments. However, I shook my head and advised Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller, you mustn't believe him. Michael absolutely cannot pay. Let's go ahead without hesitation and file that damage report. Emily, how can you be so sure? I can definitely pay it back. I've been working diligently and have achievements to show for it. What? You're about to be fired and soon to be unemployed. I don't think you can really claim you'll definitely be able to pay. Fired? Me? That's impossible. Don't make assumptions. Do you think I made that decision? Michael, you really know nothing. Just wait. I'll make it clear to you soon. Here I pointed again to my car parked at a distance. Just like before, the car door swung open briskly. Out stepped an elderly couple. Michael's face rapidly paled, and his body began to tremble. The elderly couple were his parents. As they slowly approached, their expressions were fierce, creating a tense atmosphere all around. Dad, Mom, why are you here? Emily told us everything. We were waiting in her car too, listening to the conversation over the speaker. Michael, it seems you've done something terrible. You sold the house without consulting Emily and even filed for divorce on your own? And the house sale was done privately, wasn't it? What were you thinking, causing so much trouble for so many people? Seriously, not just Sarah, but my parents were in on this too? This matter had already been reported to my in-laws. It was essential to bring them here today to deal maximum damage to Michael. I'm thoroughly disappointed in you. You told us everything was fine between you two, but that was a lie, wasn't it? You're no longer welcome in our home, and you're fired from the company. I'm fired? Wait, Dad. Sure, I cheated, but that has nothing to do with the company. Think it over. And about the new home, it was also for you and Mom. I bought it thinking about your retirement. I want you to stay healthy and well. Michael appeared to be trying to win over his parents. He seemed to be playing the good husband with a fabricated reason for the purchase, but it didn't resonate with his parents at all. Instead, their anger only seemed to grow as they glared at him with a fearsome expression. Michael, no matter what you say, you're fired. It's decided. Take this time to reflect and look for another job. Understood? This is a joke. How much do you think I've contributed to the company?
We could overcome tough times because I was there, and now you're just going to throw me away? How can you do this?
Michael's anger flared as he appealed to my father-in-law. It's true that Michael had worked hard. His results at Harine Corporation, a major company, were indeed due to his efforts. According to what his parents had told me, Michael had also been exceptionally diligent in his studies during his student days, all for the sake of working at my father-in-law's company, eventually planning to take it over. Naturally, his parents were well aware of Michael's intentions. Nevertheless, his father spoke firmly.
Yes, I appreciate everything you've done, Michael. I've been hard on you, but you've always followed without complaining. Right? Then you'll retract the firing, right? I intend to repay Mr. Miller. I'll work hard and change my ways. No, that won't do. I'll say it again. Your firing is final. Michael, please accept it. Why? I'm begging you. Emily, did you say something unnecessary? That must be it, right? Confess.
Now Michael directed his anger at me. He seemed desperate. Of course, I had said nothing extra. Separately from this incident, there were reasons why my father-in-law had to fire him. House sale, new home purchase, divorce, infidelity, and there was one more thing Michael had committed, a grave crime. Michael, you should confess. You have been stealing company funds and extorting a colleague.
What? Stolen company money? You mean embezzlement? And he was extorting a colleague? Is that true?
Yes, that's the case. There was a whistleblower. One of the subordinates who had been extorted found the courage to stand up, and then one fact after another came to light. That was why my father-in-law would not retract the firing. Michael had gone too far for any redemption. Now that everything was out in the open, Michael had no excuses left. He looked around at everyone's faces, but I shook my head slightly. Seeing this, he seemed to resign himself and collapsed to his knees. Apologize, Michael. That's all you can do now. After that, you need to pay for your sins and start over.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to be arrested. Please, Emily, do something. We're married, right? Dad, Mom, help me. Don't conveniently bring up being married. As Emily said, all you can do is apologize and atone for your sins. Relying on your wife only when you're in trouble, after you file for divorce without her knowledge. It's truly pathetic.
Both Mr. Miller and Sarah looked at Michael with pity. It was inevitable. Michael had only ever thought about himself, even at the very end. Seeing Michael completely silenced, my heart felt a bit lighter. However, the next moment, I was struck by a huge shock.
Emily, don't get cocky. Don't preach to me.
Suddenly standing up and shouting, he lunged at me. I couldn't react in time and was caught by him. He grabbed my collar so tightly I couldn't breathe or speak. He was strangling me, and I almost lost consciousness. But immediately, Michael was sent flying through the air, and I was released. Coughing from this suffocation, I looked at the person who had thrown Michael. It was Sarah.
Michael, I had no idea you were so rotten. A man who lays hands on a woman is scum. I will never forgive that.
Everyone present was understandably stunned. Sarah, who is only 4 feet 9 inches tall, had effortlessly thrown Michael. I later found out that Sarah had won a national judo championship in high school. She had started judo because a girlfriend of hers was being harassed by a boy in their class. Since then, she had been throwing men who harassed women. Softness controls hardness. It's as if the saying was made for her.
Wow, that was incredible. What a throw. Emily, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. I was quite shocked, though. Should we call the police? This is assault, isn't it?
Yes, he grabbed a defenseless woman. There's no excuse for him. Okay, I'll call 911. Wait, please, I was wrong. I'll do anything. Even grovel. Just don't call the police. Oh, sorry, I've already dialed 911. If you have something to say, you can tell it to the police. This can't be happening. How could I have been so foolish? Someone help me.
Michael sobbed and lamented as he regretted his actions. Everyone sighed deeply in unison. Thus, a day that seemed long yet short drew to a close. Later, I officially divorced Michael. He was criminally charged by Mr. Miller for the house sale, and he faced massive debts due to alimony and damages. He had to let go of the newly bought house, but he was still drowning in debt. Michael was utterly broken, and no one was there to help him. It was entirely his own doing. It was only natural. He would likely live a lonely life from now on. But the story didn't end there. Michael approached me, wanting to reconcile.
Hey, Emily, I've realized something lately. I really need you. You must be lonely too, right? You've always been a housewife, and life must be hard. So let's get back together.
He really made me laugh. Hasn't he learned anything? That was the first thought that came to mind, but I was too dismayed to even say it out loud. I can't deny I'm lonely being alone, but there's a 0% chance I would get back together with Michael. That's an absolute no. Moreover, Michael doesn't understand anything about me. I decided to update him on my situation. I have no problems with my life, you know. I've gone back to work.
What? You went back to work? You were a housewife.
Before I dated you, Michael, I worked at a real estate agency. You know Nez Real Estate, right?
Nez Real Estate? That's a major company. Oh, so that's why you knew so much about real estate. It turns out you're more of an elite than me.
Michael seemed lost for words over the phone, but then he seemed to have an idea.
So you're making good money now, right? Please help me. If Nez Real Estate pays well, I'll do anything you say if you help me.
Really, you understand nothing. It's because you can only think of yourself that you're in this situation. Michael, you need to change yourself first. And please don't involve me in your life anymore. Goodbye. Just before hanging up, Michael was still shouting something, but I blocked his contact without hesitation. Now I'm enjoying living alone. The house Michael has sold without my knowledge was returned and sold as part of the divorce settlement. My work is going well and my days are fulfilling. Recently, I started judo as a new challenge. Of course, Sarah is the instructor. Since then, we've become good friends, almost like comrades in arms in private life too. I decided to take the plunge and try judo when I heard she was teaching it. It can be used for self-defense, and more importantly, it can strengthen the mind. This incident was largely due to Michael's rampage, but my own weakness was also to blame. When Michael's infidelity came to light, I should have faced him seriously. If I had acted sooner, perhaps a different future could have been possible. It's too late to talk about what ifs, but I wanted to change myself too. When I casually checked my phone, there was a message from Mr. Miller.
You are my lifesaver. I am glad to have met you. You have saved me.
Reading that made me want to start anew and move on from the hurt Michael caused me. I'm aiming to appreciate every encounter and be truthful with myself and everyone else. That's all that's on my mind right now.